how to pass your ACCA PM examination with some top tutor tips. If you have that ACCA exam, you are in the right place because I'm delighted to welcome Richard today, who's going to walk and talk us through the tips he shares with his students that could help you to get that 50 plus. But without me stealing his thunder, Richard, my friend, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, James, and hi, everyone watching. Thanks very much. So I'm Richard. I'm a PM tutor. I love PM. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. And it's a bit of a coincidence. So, James and I are effectively neighbours when we look at it on the city level. We live in next door cities. I'm in Portsmouth, James is in Chichester. And I want to start with a fun fact. So, I moved here in 2001. I started my life out in the medical world, and I worked at Queen Alexandra Hospital in maxillofacial surgery. That was 24 years ago. And a friend from my university was doing the same role at Chichester at St. Richard's, and he invited me to a winter ball, which was so he was at the hospital, but the ball was at Fontwell. And on the coach back from Fontwell, I sat next to someone called Kate, who was a respiratory physio at St. Richard's. And about 2 weeks ago, Kate and I celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. So that's how I met Kate on my way back from on a coach from a ball linked to St. Richard's Hospital. So yeah,
Oh, mega. Fan-
crazy coincidence, but yeah, so long relationship with Chichester.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to meet up face to face, but for the PM students who are listening today, hearing that someone loves PM when it's got around about a 40% pass rate, and Kate,
Mm.
if you are listening as well, you're in for a treat. Um, where would you start, Richard? What is the first go-to if you've got a PM student in front of you and they want to pass? How are you going to help them?
So I'm a bit of a nerd and I love understanding how the brain works. So I'm going to start with learning optimization because
Hmm.
I think it was a president of the US that said something along the lines of, I'm sure I misquote, if you've got 5 hours to chop down a tree, spend 2 hours sharpening the axe or something like that. I've probably got it wrong. But anyway, I think getting our brains ready to learn it, not just for PM, but all exams, all studies,
Mm.
all professional exams is really important. And the science behind this is absolutely, I find it interesting, amazing. But is really, it's been researched for like 150 years. So
Yeah.
it's really solid science. So, and I won't go into detail because there's too much there. But if I was to ask you, James, how does your shirt feel right now
Feels
against your skin? It
pretty
probably, you
good.
might say, yeah, it feels maybe soft or maybe there's an itchy bit, but you probably weren't thinking of it till I asked.
Mm-hmm.
Because the role of your subconscious brain is to forget everything. Your default position in your brain is to forget things. And so if I sit down with a study text or something like that and I start reading it, my brain is in the default mode of forgetting it. I need to tell
Mm.
my brain, this is important. You need to remember this. And so I think there's some success things we can do that we can set ourselves up. And some of them we know, good nutrition, good sleep, having some rest, not just studying, doing all of those other things are really important to allow your brain to move out of that default position where it forgets.
Mm.
And then there's some other things where you can train your brain to go, if I am doing this, this is important. You need to remember planning a timetable, setting a timetable out of when you're going to study. You're starting to tell your subconscious brain, when I'm at this time of day in my timetable, it's important. I need to remember this stuff. Also, ideally, if you can have the same work environment, when I'm sitting at this desk or this chair doing
Mm.
this, I am studying, this is important. And each of these things we do, we're gradually, neuroplasticity is probably a term we all know. And what you're doing is you're changing the neural connections so that when you're in that zone, in that mode, your brain is getting better.
Mm.
Accountability is another one. So let people around you know
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be studying at this time. You'll probably get fewer interruptions, but I always recommend students ask people to hold you accountable. Say to your loved ones, your family, this is my timetable. If I've said I'm going to study at 7 o'clock and you see me doom scrolling or something at 7, tell me,
Mm.
Richard, you said you were going to study at 7. Hold me accountable. Give people permission to do it. Not people will support you. And I think all of this is really important. But the science, the one big thing that the science tells us is self-testing. And to me, this is the thing that goes back 150 years. And it comes from a study where They gave two groups of students a biography, and one group had to read the biography and then they tested themselves immediately. They went through self-testing, thinking about it. The book was taken away at that point, and then a few months later they were tested on it. The other group were given the book and they could read it as many times as they wanted. The first group did much better. And then
Mm,
this has been sort of deconstructed and tested in many different ways. And the most important thing you can do to embed knowledge in your brain and train your brain into remembering stuff is to self-test. So
mm,
reading stuff, watching stuff is useful, but the next thing to do is always stop, test it. And it could just be thinking about it, think of scenarios, how it applies, or doing some questions on it. And the really interesting thing I find, it doesn't matter how well you do in those tests.
mm.
What you're doing is actually training your brain to remember things.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, your brain will get better and better. That's obviously not just PM, that's everything. And so I think starting with that foundation of how to optimize learning is really key to all of this. Professional
Mm.
exams,
Yeah,
really
exactly,
important.
exactly. And especially when PM is most likely going to be maybe a student's first or second exam, or they're sort of just finding their feet on their ACCA journey. So some great advice there. And what's the sort of thing, well, what are the sort of things that PM students make mistakes on that make them fail the exam, would you say, from the students you deal with?
So I think there are four key strategies to passing PM. One is IT skills. You need to get good at using that spreadsheet. It's a time saver.
Mm,
It's efficient. You'll get the follow through marks or the own figure rule marks. If you make a mistake, the marker can see your mistake and you'll get the follow on marks. So practicing on that spreadsheet is really important. And then as you move on to professional exams, I mean, it's essential in PM, but if you do something like AFM, you can't do that without the spreadsheet. Like it's
mm,
so important. So not only are you helping yourself now, you're helping yourself in the future. So getting good at that early on, really important. What I call strategic timekeeping. We'll talk about timekeeping, the way it, but to me, it's about that low hanging fruit. Don't spend 10 minutes getting 2 marks when you can spend 2 minutes getting 2 marks. You
mm,
really need to go through that exam and pull out the things, like go through the section A. Which ones are you going to, are the easy ones for you to get? Do those first. Flag the ones that aren't. I recommend to my students. I call it blag, flag, and come back. So go through, do the ones you know, ones you easy to get. If you don't know it and it's a selection, just choose one and flag it.
hmm.
And then if you've got time at the end, come back. So blag is guessing, flag, obviously flag, come back. If you've got time, then do it. And then you should have banked some time, banked some easy marks, come back and then do those harder ones because you only need 50% to pass. So if you can
Mm.
get 30, 35% of those easy ones throughout the exam, then you've got more time to do those harder ones.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And in terms of the sections, we've got A, B, and C. What do you recommend a certain way to go about the exam? Like, what's your sort of exam technique, maybe if you had to go and do it?
I know there's a sort of an ACB thing that goes around. I'm more flexible in this, and I because I know some students don't like that. I know some students prefer to start with C, and so I think my recommendation is try it out,
Mm,
practice, see what works for you, because some people could look at the section C questions and one of them might really like. Well, start with that because
mm.
that you're getting into the process of sitting the exam. So I'm certainly not formulaic on it. But I see the benefit of the ACB methodology, and I think if you've got nothing to go on, try that out and see what you think. But I certainly wouldn't be stuck on that one.
Yeah, well, it's always things that I speak to PM students about, time management on there, topic areas that come up for it as well. Even formatting on the sort of section C's, you might be lucky and get sort of like a break-even question, but something like a budget or on there. What are the other sort of hints and tips that you give to your students that really help them out?
So one of the other strategic things I talk about is the strategic narrative approach. This is section C, and again, this is important for PM, but when you move on to professional exams, undeniably this is going to help you. And one of so we tutors have access to a tutor conference, and one of the examiners, the I can't remember if it's a PM or APM examiner, said this, and it stuck with me. He said, "I don't care what your opinion is, I care why that's your opinion." And to me, that's really important. That's what you want to get out when you're given the narrative answers. So you could state something, but you probably won't get a mark for it because you need to close the loop. You need to link it back to the question, link it back to the narrative. And as a starter, again, I'm not formulaic on this, but I say to students, the first thing to do maybe is to think of a two-sentence approach.
Hmm.
It's the second sentence that's going to get your mark, but you need the first sentence to say the
To
thing. So
build it. Mm.
the first sentence is the thing you want to say. That's normally a very short few words. The second sentence is how you link that thing back to the narrative. That's where the marks are, and that's the important thing. So that's the strategic narrative approach. As you practice, you can flex that a bit and don't have to stick to that. But as a basis to start in those section C answers, to me, that's a really good foundation to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And again, we're talking about sort of maybe a student who's new to ACCA. It might be one of their first exams they're doing. Don't overlook the ACCA resources as well, I'd say. You've got the external examiners reports. I always find, I know the technical articles can be a bit long-winded, but if you've got a really tricky topic area, that's another good resource to say, look, oh, here's one way I've heard about it. And then it shows you a sort of nice, easy breakdown of what the ACCA would be expecting on there. But Richard, are there any other final golden nugget tips that you've got to get on record that could be the difference in getting a student a 50 plus?
Technology is the other one, particularly if you're sitting the exam at home.
Hmm.
I'm at my desk now. I have a 40-inch screen. That's 102 centimeters in new money. It cost me 50 quid on Facebook Marketplace.
Hmm.
And a big screen means you can have lots of windows open on the exam. So if you're sitting the exam at home, get a big screen. It's invaluable because the ergonomics of not having to close screens down or close windows down, open them up, makes a huge difference. And it's minor time saving, but it takes away the focus on those things and you focus on what's on the screen and what's important. So yeah,
Yeah,
50
absolutely
quid well
spot on.
spent.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Who knows? Maybe Facebook will sponsor this video. We'll see. But on there, but I completely agree, especially on the CBE platform. If you're a new student watching this, getting good with just how it works and how you would lay it out and how you would go from question, read the requirement, answer, how it's laid out. These are things where I speak to students, they'll go, "Oh, I've done one mock exam, James. I feel prepared on there." And they go, "Hang on a second. If I was in your shoes, I would be doing literally mostly every question on the CBE platform." Yeah,
Do five at least. I
you
do
would say
just
five.
practice. Well, why not?
Mm,
Why not just you don't do one driving lesson and then do your driving test, do you?
mm.
Yeah, I agree. The more you do, the better. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, that's a lovely bombshell to end this recording on. So, Richard, I've just got to say thank you so much for your time, insights, and sharing those interesting points that could be the difference in getting a student a 50 plus. Any final words of best wishes or luck on there?
Well, funnily enough, we're recording this after results day, so I hope everyone who got their results yesterday is I know everyone won't be, but I hope everyone is happy. For those that didn't quite make it, you know what? It is just an exam.
Hmm.
Life is big in this. Just reset, try again, reflect on what didn't work. Excuse me. Reflect on what didn't work, and yeah, it is passable. But yeah, PM is tough. It
Hmm.
does require it does require quite a bit of work. But yeah, dedicate a bit of time to it. Use those tips that we've gone over. Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
Oh no, fantastic! It is the hard truth, I'm afraid. With that 40% pass rate, a student should rather hear it from us rather than
Mm.
down the road of going, "Oh, God, that level, that expectation is just so high on it. And you think, oh, it should be a doddle, but it really isn't. So thank you, Richard. I put all of Richard's details, guys, in the description of this video. Feel free to reach out to him. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. And best of luck with your exam. So thank you very much.